Hey there, welcome to JB Outdoors. A couple episodes back, you took us kayak fishing for our very first time. It was exciting, we learned a lot, it brought a lot of great comments to the channel, and our personal friends actually asked us some really good questions about kayak fishing. So we thought we'd bring you back, Neil, and see if you do a kayak review for us on your Perception Outlaw 11.5 Kayak. You up for it?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's do it. JB Outdoors.
We were able to get these 9.
JB Outdoors, look at that, baby, fish! Oh.
You want to mix up your product until you get to that point.
Time to get outside with the guys at JB Outdoors.
All right, so let's move on with the review. We'll start at the front here. This has a nice handle to grip to help get in and out. A lot of the kayaks have a strap here, but that strap can just come unscrewed or pop out from the kayak. So I like having the nice sturdy handle here to grab it by. We've got a bungee here with some storage underneath. It has a little slot for your paddle in your kayak. You can store your paddle.
That's nice, it's kind of like a little seat belt for your paddle.
That's right, it makes it easy to get to and you don't have to worry about it being knocked off as easily. The Perceptions come with a solo mount attachment that you can just screw into these points that they have, and you can mount extra accessories in those locations. Another thing I like is the padding that they have here on the floor. If you're standing up, it gives you a little better grip, and for me, if I'm sitting down, I'll keep pliers or something on here and it makes a lot less noise than if you just had it sitting on the plastic. So that's a good feature for you.
Hey Neil, what are these holes right here?
These are scupper holes. So if you're out there and I don't know, maybe doing some inshore fishing and the waves are kind of high or something and it gets water in, this just lets them drain out. Another good feature is these Perception kayaks are one piece. They're all molded at one time, so it doesn't have the different parts. So it doesn't let water get in between the parts of the kayak. This is all one piece, so the water can just flow straight on out the scuppers. And an accessory you have, if the water's coming up into the scuppers, you can put some plugs in there to stop them. Another thing I like is they have a built-in space under here to mount the transducer for a depth finder. And we'll get a little more on that in a little bit. Moving on down the kayak, they come with built-in track mounts, which these come in really handy. They can serve as a handle if you wanted to pick them up from the side. You can also mount some attachments in here, such as rod holders, cleats, solo mounts, anything you wanted to mount on there. They have attachments for that. Then we have the seat. This is a sit on top kayak, which was another thing I was looking for. They have a sit inside kayak or sit on top. And this one was good for fishing because you can be up a little bit higher and see fish better if you're above them. So the seat sits up higher and it's at a good height. If you wanted to go from sitting to standing, you could do that fairly easily.
Hey Neil, is this seat removable or is it molded to the actual kayak?
Oh, now this seat is removable. It has bungees that tie it in. You just remove the bungees. The seat folds up and it stows behind you. So if you wanted to even have a cooler, you could sit on the cooler. You could have a bait well here. You could put another crate. You could do a lot of things with this space right here just by folding the seat up out of the way.
I like options.
It also has a cup holder right here for your drinks. You can get an accessory through Perception that has tackle holders, and they strap in so that you can store your tackle here. I use this more to store my anchor when I pull my anchor up. The anchors fit nicely in this little groove, so that's what I use it for. I don't have the lure accessory yet. Then moving back, we have the double barrel rod holders on each side of the kayak, which lets you take 4 rods with you, plus if you have more in your accessories, there's no shortage of rods on this kayak. Back here on the back of the kayak, it comes with a bungee already installed for a crate or anything else that you need to store and hold down. You can attach it under the bungee. We have a place back here you could cut out and install a hatch if you needed some more dry storage. There's one in the back and one kind of up in the middle of the front of the boat. You could just install that here for dry storage. And then at the very back, there's another handle underneath where you can grip it or even mount, say, a trolling motor or something in the back. It just has a nice flat place for mounting. And the underneath, it has some sacrificial plastic strips. So you probably see mine are getting kind of rough where I have to drag it across the ground when I get in and out of the water. Which that's good. If these go bad, you can just replace them and you're not damaging your kayak.
All right, Neil, that's the kayak from top to bottom or from bow to stern. You mentioned a lot about accessories. Can we kind of get into some details on actually some of the accessories that you have added to your kayak?
Sure, Jay. Let's start back at the front of the kayak again. One accessory that I knew I wanted was a fish finder, but more for a depth finder and a water temperature. And in the front, this one has a hole for the transducer mount, and it has a slot kind of underneath the kayak to mount the transducer. So it's already drilled out and everything's ready to go to mount the transducer for the fish finder. And over here on the side is the monitor. The transducer hooks into the monitor here that's attached to the side rail, and there's a nice attachment that already fits the Garmin striker that I got. So it stays over here on the side out of the way of my paddle and I can fish right around it. Another thing I knew I was going to want is something to do with my fish after I catch them. In a pond, I could just put them on a stringer and let them flow behind you, but when you're on the salt water, you can't really do that. You'll get shark too easily. So I wanted a cooler that goes in the front of the boat. You can keep your ice in here, and when you catch fish, you just throw them in and they'll stay cool till you get back. Another thing I knew I was going to want is a rod holder. Yeah, I've got 4 rod holders on the back, but I wanted one in the front that if I need to just set my rod in quickly and paddle or take the fish off the hook, I can just have one up here that mounts to the rail system that's built into the kayak. And I found if I keep it angled forward like this, it stays out of the way when I go to paddle.
Hey, Neil, I noticed you got a couple cameras on board. Of course, I know you are a JB Outdoors contributor, so you always got to have cameras going. I noticed you have 2 different style mounts. Can you talk about those?
This one in the front is an adhesive mount that just sticks onto the kayak and you mount your camera right to that. And that one's good, but it only has the one angle, so you're basically getting the shot out of the front of the kayak. This other option is a rail mounted that actually has a ball swivel in there, so you can change the angle of the camera, you can reposition it in almost any direction you want to, which is good if you catch that fish and want to get a good shot of you with it. And back here in the back, we've got our crate. Most kayakers use some kind of crate. I like to bungee mine in, and I'll keep stuff like my dry bag, my tackle, any gear that I need to store, I keep back there. But one thing is my battery of my fish finder. I keep that in the crate in the back. I have a fishing net that I keep in one of the rod holders. And then in the other rod holder, I have a safety flag. It just fits right in there. So that's when I'm having to paddle across the boat channels to get out to where I want to fish. I'll just be a little more visible. The last thing I knew I wanted was my anchor trolley. This allows you to drop your anchor and then move it to the front or the back, whichever way the current's flowing. It lets you position your kayak so that you're either fishing upstream or downstream or with the tide or against the tide, however you want to fish, but it's safer to anchor either at the front or the back of the kayak than directly off the side. So I installed the lever lock kayak trolley anchor.
Well, thanks Hey Neil, thanks for the great review today on your Perception Outlaw 11.5 Kayak. This is a lot of kayak. There's a lot going on here. And we'd like to hear about your kayak or favorite things that you like on your kayak, accessories, or just the actual brand of kayak that you're using. Drop that in the comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Neil, you touched a lot about this kayak, but a lot of the accessories on here, man, I think you might have just scratched the surface.
You're right, Dave. There are a lot of options with this kayak, and the sky's the limit. You can get whatever you want to for this kayak.
Just like any hobby, right? You can dump as much as you want to in it.
Exactly.
All right, well, I think you've dumped enough in now. It looks great to me. Let's load these up on your trailer and let's go fish. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going fishing. We'll see y'all on the next episode.
Thanks for watching this episode of JB Outdoors. Please follow the guys on their social media pages. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. JB Outdoors content contributor Neil received no compensation for his kayak review.
On the next episode of JB Outdoors, we're going to be fishing off the coast of Georgia. Y'all come follow along and see how we did today.